you go and they don't, it'll get filled up and there won't be room for you.
But, you know, one of the things about eternal punishment is that we really don't like the idea of somebody who's terrible not being punished. I mean, Eric, the dead boy who his mom has made a blog and a video site for him.
Channeling Eric?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He has said, and he interviewed Hitler, and basically, no, Hitler's not going to hell. Hitler's fine. And, I mean, that just sends people around the bend. They can't imagine a world in which Hitler doesn't go to hell. He has to go to hell. And it's like the idea that there's a bigger picture in which that kind of punishment doesn't play a part is just almost beyond people to fathom.
Well, I think Hitler played
I do think that someone who, like Hitler, okay, because I do believe that when we come to the earth plane for two reasons. One, obviously, is to learn. But in the other thing that I look at is you end up making your own decisions. And when you get a person like Hitler, it is my belief that this is not a lesson for in the way that we understand it. This was a purely evil man. This is all I could say. This was purely an evil man. And I do believe that there's a time where he's going to have to come and review his life and feel everything he's ever done, and that is the punishment.
Well, and many would believe that there are karmatic consequences for his actions as well, you know, and that there would be karma that would have to be settled, you know, through life lessons or life experiences in future incarnations.
Absolutely. But, you know, when it comes to being reincarnated, okay, you have to agree to it. And it is my understanding that with Hitler, he still is in a place where he refuses to deal with what he did. That's my understanding of it, that he's in a gray area and he has not done his life review. And I don't think that you can move on until you do that. And then you would be, yes, I agree with you, there is absolute karma. You know, people don't understand karma. I see it all the time all over Facebook. People saying, I can't wait to see the karma on this one, the karma on that one, you know, and I giggle. You know, it's not for our happiness.
Right.
And for us to be able to say, look at that, you know, he got it. No, it comes through many, many lifetimes. And, yeah, Hitler is going to be reborn, whether it's on this earth plane or elsewhere. And, yes, indeed, he's going to have to atone for what he did. But, again, he has to also agree to do it.
Well, you know, there's another view, and the view that Ben introduced me to is that he was part of an important movement, an important shift in energy, and that he actually volunteered to do a really crappy job, and it did damage him severely. But it wasn't about pure unmotivated evil. When you look at the world since Hitler and how people have moved around and how new discoveries have been made and how just the world has changed, lines have been redrawn, just important progress has been made. Things have happened that wouldn't have happened if certain people hadn't moved from Europe to the New World. You know,
the discoveries were made.
There's a big picture that's much bigger than Hitler.
Hello?
I believe Hitler played a part.
Yeah.
Is what I'm concluding, and it's really hard to accept that someone could play such an incredible role, but I believe that's really
what he did. Where probably we have absolute different points of view on that. And I understand what you're saying. I've heard this before. I've looked into it psychically as well. And no, Hitler did what Hitler did. And yes, we did make great advances, absolutely, on people's backs, on experimentation on human beings. This is a purely evil man. And anything that we have progressed because of him is a progression with, I want to use the word, with black energy, with terrible energy, because of the terrible price. And that's why I do wonder about what is going on in this world. But, I do not believe there was anything that Hitler did that contributed to mankind.
Could it be argued that the response against Hitler, the advances in technology, the advances in science, the general pulling together of different people to recognize the evil that he represented, could that be seen as a positive factor? In other words, as a part of a larger equation?
I would have to really give that some thought. I would have to roll that over.
Right.
We would have to sit and talk about this and thrash it out, because I have my not only it's my knowing, my knowing tells me something very different. It is like, okay, when we advanced ourselves on the backs of aliens that came to our planet, and we advanced ourselves on their backs, and all our advancement then becomes tainted. Is it really advancement? It's the way I see things from a very different point of view than most people do. I think that human beings are as good as they're so purely good and so purely evil.
I believe we've all got dark within us, and we all have much good within us, and much of our journey as humans is to learn to balance that, like we are learning to balance our egos. We can't eradicate the ego, but we can learn to manage it.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. Going back to the Hitler thing, okay? If we accept that he's part of a bigger picture, do we accept that the pedophiles on this earth plane are part of a bigger picture? Do we accept everything evil is part of a bigger picture, or do we accept the fact that there is evil purely and simple? And the evil does not, and to me what evil is an energy that refuses to budge.
Another interesting question that raises is that it's part of the evolution of soul consciousness to contain, combat, or refute that negative energy in such a way that the negative energy at some point, the evil, as we define it, stops the evil and learns to become good. Do you see that ever happening, or do you think there is some evil that is so intransigent that it's just always going to be there in some sense?
I think there's some energies, evil energies, dark energy. I know that everything is a choice. Okay, you choose to raise up your energy. It's a choice, and and when you're on the earth plane, it's a conscious choice. We choose to make it a better energy, or we choose to stay where we are. That evil energy chooses to stay where it is for whatever reason. I'm certainly not going to say I understand it, but that is their choice. And I don't believe we learn anything from it, because it's always been probably for most of my life, and I'm an old lady here, I believe that mankind never really needs. Okay, you see things like people saying you need to have pain to understand love. I don't believe that. I believe you can understand love just by understanding it. You don't need that opposite. You don't need it. It's our reality. It's what we've been taught by religion.
Do you believe it's possible that part of our role as light workers is to send that low vibration energy, that dark energy, to the light to be healed?
I believe that we can waste our time sometimes on things, but yes, you want to send that lower energy light, but again, in the end, it is their decision, and to me, their ultimate desire is to bring you with them. And I'm not talking about hell. I'm talking about just pure evil. Hitler, pedophiles, murderers for no particular reason. You know what I mean? People torture people. I mean, all this garbage we see in our world is made by people making decisions because they like that feeling of being a lower energy.
Which takes us back to the original question about, do we have free will, and what is free will about?
Yeah, they make a decision. I want to stay here.
Welcome back, Nadia. We're in one of those deep philosophical discussions, and it's a spin-off of what we were talking, but all interconnected and all interrelated, and Ben would absolutely love this. In fact, Ben may very well want to weigh in on this. He may already have weighed in one of his writings on your blog, and that is the free will question and the nature of evil question. That's what we're discussing.
Well, Abraham Hicks talks about contrast, and I think that's a very useful way of talking about what we call good and evil, because the fact is that we need to mix it up and generate energy and change. And people who we perceive as evil very often don't perceive themselves as evil. They feel that they are doing the right thing for the right reasons. And one of the
you believe that?
That is one of the ways in which the human race is trying to evolve is that people who are good, who consider themselves good, are loyal to a particular group of people. And we're seeing that in our elections in the United States.
Yes, aren't we?
What really needs to happen is for people to expand the circle of people to whom they are loyal. And somebody who leads a war and causes great harm to the enemy is considered by his own people to be doing a good thing. And the way that this can be transmuted into higher energy is basically to expand the size of the circle in which you find your followers and the people that are loyal to you and that are loyal to them. Eventually, the entire human race will find that we are all loyal to each other and that we don't have divisions. And that's one of the things that gradually comes about as a result of conflict between groups of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's part of us healing this feeling of division from source and being separate from source. And I mean, war is very ego-driven in many ways, too.
Well, and very money-driven in many ways, too.
Absolutely.
But, one of the things, I don't want to go back to talking about Hitler, but let's just say that
it's really an interesting subject.
He loved his people. He was leading his people. He was protecting and defending his people, and he felt that.
You really believe that, do you? I don't believe that, not for 1 second, not for one iota.
Well, that's why I said I don't want to go back to talking about Hitler. Why don't
Yeah,
you move on?
no, I mean,
Give us another
think about
question.
that. When you are so egocentric, you don't care if you're helping anybody. What you care about is that people are following you and adoring you, and that's all that matters to you. And you get bigger and bigger with that adoration. That's what I think, anyway. But anyway, you guys, this has been really cool. But I gotta hang.
Technology today is I'm not sure it's imitating, but it's running alongside of the development of our ability to communicate and to contact and to directly interact with energy in a way that maybe people could thousands of years ago, but it's been a very long time, and we've lost the knack. But I think that our technology, in effect, is showing us the way.
This ties in a lot with what Teilhard de Chardin, the French mystic, he was a Catholic priest and a monk who wrote a lot of stuff, and he talks about the crucifixion of the earth. And this gets back to that evolution process that you've alluded to and talked about before, and that Ben has talked about. This societal evolution that's going on as the world itself is evolving, as we are spiritually evolving, society's evolving, technology's evolving. It's all part of the process.
Exactly. And it's an exciting process. And